Hi everyone. So we're back with another lecture on English language proficiency. So this is chapter 2. It's about correcting sentence errors. So before we start, I hope you're having a wonderful day so far, and I hope you're all safe and still coping, still surviving, and still learning. Yeah, ang bilis ng panahon, and I really hope na we are able to get most of the most of our time na we're being productive and all. So yeah, this is chapter 2. This is about correcting sentence errors. So why do we need to correct sentence errors? Bakit kaya uh, kailangan pa nating pag-aralan to? So sabi nga, good grammar helps you communicate clearly, and uh, through good grammar, through a complete thought, you will be able to get the answer that you want. So especially sa ating mga Pinoy, hindi natin napapansin na we commit a lot of sentence errors. So sa Tagalog kasi parang meron na tayong instinct on how to answer it. Parang through the nonverbal cues na parang pag sinabing kahit hindi mo sinabi yung mismong subject of the sentence mo, may mga signs lang na ginagawa ang mga Pinoy, nagkakaintindihan na tayo. But that doesn't work in a formal situation. For example, you are speaking through a crowd, you are writing something, uh, yun, hindi siya magandang i-practice na lagi-lagi tayo nagko-commit ng sentence errors. So, grammar is the groundwork of clear communication. So, if you want to be understood in the way that you want, you need to express yourself in a clear perspective or a clearer way. So, sabi dito, the better the grammar, the clearer the message, the more likelihood of understanding the message's intent and meaning. So, the first lesson that we have here is sentence fragment. So, at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to find what sentence fragments are, relate fragments to phrases as well as dependent and independent clauses, determine the ways of correcting sentence fragments, and edit fragments to form a meaningful sentence. So a fragment, what do we mean by fragment? So ibig sabihin lang ng fragment is broken. It is not complete. It is broken into pieces. So it's the cause of loss of unity or cohesion. So it is detached or incomplete. So in grammar, fragments are sentence errors because basically they do not carry a complete meaning. They do not express a complete thought. So, ang tanong, ma'am, ano ba ang mga components ng complete sentence? So we have 5 components of a complete sentence. First and foremost, the sentence should start with a capital letter, right? So, napaka-elementary na niya. Simula pa noon, tinuturuan na tayo na to start your sentence with a capital letter. The second one is it should have a subject. So, your subject could be a noun, okay? A noun or a gerund, okay? Gerund is your ing form of the verb singing, writing, expressing, so on and so forth. Next, we have the capital letter, subject, noun, or the gerund. We have the predicate, which is your verb. Okay, we have the be verbs. Uh, kung i-recall natin, we have the is, are, am, was, were, yan, mga yan. I-discuss ko mamaya. And then, it should have a complete thought. And the last one is it should have a terminal punctuation. So it should stop, it should end with a period, with a question mark, with an exclamation point. So depending on what kind of the sentence you are making. So again, we have capital letter, subject, predicate, complete thought, and the terminal punctuation. So sentence fragment. So when you encounter a group of words that do not express a complete thought or meaning, that is a fragmented sentence. So most of the time, Sentence fragments are formed uh, through three reasons. So the first reason is when one fails to put the proper punctuation. So minsan, nagkakaroon ng sentence fragment kung walang comma, walang period, and walang question mark, walang semicolon. Yan yung mga yan. And then the number two is when the verb is intentionally or intentionally removed. So walang verb. So walang is, walang are, walang am, walang was, walang were. Yung mga yan. And then the next one is when the essential parts of the sentence are missing. So we have the subject, direct object, and subject complement, which I will discuss later. Okay, so the following group of words in bold are examples of fragmented sentences. Number one is, my best friend is not coming with us. Nag-period siya because she thinks she does not belong to our group. Number two, hates being alone for the past day. So number one, ano nangyayari dyan? Ano yung error? We have incorrect punctuation, right? So, complete thought na siya eh. But, it is, uh, nahiwalay kasi siya with the use of the period. So, parang ang dating tuloy, yung because she thinks she does not belong to our group, ang nangyari dyan is, wala siyang subject. So, yung subject niya nahiwalay dahil nga dun sa period. So, ang gagawin mo, lagyan mo ng comma. Okay, pero pwede mo na rin, yeah, pwede mong dire-diretso na, lowercase mo yung because, and then dire-diretso na yung sentence. Number two, hates being alone for the past days. So, this one is, it is missing a subject. Who hates being alone for the past days? So, pwede mong lagyan ng she hates being alone for the past days. He hates being alone for the past days, mga yan. And the books on the shelf. The books on the shelves are what? So, nawawala naman ang verb. 'Di ba? So, meron tayong subject of the sentence, books. And the poor feel, Henry wants, yan naman, nawawala ang subject complement. Sa i-discuss natin later. And then, that you are loved, favored, wanted, subject missing. In the kitchen or the stove, next to the stove, wala din siyang subject. Nag-start lang siya in a preposition. If the rain does not stop, yan, mga kulang talaga siya if babasahin mo talaga, expressing myself through writing, walang predicate verb, and so on and so forth. So, what are the ways in correcting fragmented sentences? Number one is, yun nga, fragment that is missing a subject or a verb. So, we have our subject, di ba? Subjects natin are nouns. Or sabi ko kanina na gerund. Okay? So, most basically, ang subject talaga natin ay noun. So, this is a place, person, thing, or feeling, right? So, pag nakakita ka na ng ganyan sentence, hanapin mo na kaagad yung subject of the sentence. So, for the first one, he hates being alone for these days. Maglagay ka na ng subject of the sentence. So, pwedeng pangalan ng tao, pwedeng pronoun. Okay, so for this case, ang nilagay niya, Sarah. Sarah hates being alone these days. Okay, next. It is missing a verb. So, dito, the books on the shelf. Ano nawawala? Yung ating be verbs. Ano ba yung be verbs natin? We have the am, is, are, was, were, has been, are being, might have been, become, and seem. And so, marami pa yan. We have, I think, 20 linking verbs, 20 be verbs. Yun. So, in this case, sabi dito, yung corrected form niya is, the books are sitting on the shelf. So, pwede rin, kahit wala na yung sitting, pwedeng, the books are on the shelf. So, as simple as that. So, magiging complete na yung sentence mo if you have, balik nga tayo dun sa components, you have the subject, you have the predicate, yung predicate natin is the verb, and then complete thought and punctuation. Next, number two is fragment that is missing, object, or complement. So what do we mean by complement? So complement are words that describe the subject of the sentence. So in this case, we have the subject, yung poor. The poor feel what? So, kung titingnan mo, meron na tayong subject, meron na tayong verb, which is the feel. So, ang kulang na lang is a complete thought. So, wala siyang sense kasi. It does not uh, convey a complete thought. So, sabi dito, complement is the word that describes the subject of the sentence. So, poor. So, mag-iisip ka ngayon ng mga pwedeng adjective na magde-describe dun sa poor. So, he feels what? Yung mga yun. Yun yung sinasagot ng compliment. So, i-describe mo yung subject. So, the poor feel helpless. Yung mga yan. And then, next one. Henry wants what? So, direct object naman is the one that receives the action of the verb. So, it answers the question who, whom, or what. So, it's somewhat similar to the complement. So, Henry wants what? Henry wants that bag. Henry wants that book. Henry wants that shoes. Mga yan. So, yan yung ibig sabihin ng uh, feeling, yung, ano tawag dito? Pag fill out mo sa missing parts of the sentence. Next, we have number 3, fragment that begins with a preposition or a prepositional phrase. So in this case, in the kitchen next to the stove. So parang wala lang sense, 'di ba? Maganda na i-start natin ang mga sentences natin with a prepositional phrase kasi ang dating niya is not, hindi siya yung typical na sentence, na simple sentence na lagi mo nakikita or lagi mo nababasa. When you start your sentence with a prepositional phrase, parang it is somewhat a higher take on making your sentence. But make sure na you have the subject and the predicate verb. So in this case, sabi niya, I am. So I am, ako yung subject of the sentence. Am, the verb am. I am sure I placed my phone. Placed is yun yung ating predicate verb. So predicate verb natin is place my phone. And then, yun na papasok yung ating prepositional phrase or prepositional clause in the kitchen next to the stove. So it is complete na. Next, number 4 is fragment that begins with gerund. So gerund is the ing form of the verb that functions as a noun. So yan yung ating singing. So singing is what I do for a living. So yung singing doon, it did not act as the verb of the sentence, but it act as the subject of your sentence. Medyo naintindihan ba natin yun? So yun yung function ni gerund. Gerund is anything that is formed in, anything verb that it is formed in an ing, but it functions as the noun or the subject of the sentence. So, yun. Sabi dito, expressing myself through writing. Expressing myself is the subject of the sentence. Okay? Expressing. So, ang nawawala is yung ating predicate verb. So, ang dinagdag niya dito, helps me a lot with my anxiety issues. Okay. Next, number 5, fragment that begins with a dependent word. So, ano bang pinagkaiba ng dependent at independent? So, kung sa Tagalog pa, dependent, umaasa, hindi siya nakakatayo sa sarili niyang paa. And independent is something na nakakatayo dahil kompleto na siya. So, yun yung ibig sabihin niya. So, dependent words are, it's either a marker or a conjunction. So, marker is yan yung ating after, although, as if, because, before. even if, even though, if, in order to, since, though, unless, until, whatever, when, whenever, whether, while. So, pag nag-start na ang sentence mo with those marker, make sure na uh, it has a supplement. Kasi, when that word starts with those marker, yung sinabi ko kanina, it is a dependent word. It cannot stand alone. So, sa conjunction naman, we have the fun boys, right? We have the for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and I think it's so. Yeah. So, ayun. Yun yung ating mga dependent words. So, sa example dito, when the system fails, nag-period siya. No one is to be blamed. So, when the system fails, complete thought ba yun? Hindi, di ba? So, kailangan make sure na uh, your sentence has the five components of a complete sentence. So when the system fails, comma, no one is to be blamed. Okay. So ayun, yun lang. That's the end of our lesson 1. So I hope na medyo na-master niyo yon. Ang sentence fragment kasi, dyan din nag-start ang maraming issues. Parang sa ating mga Pinoy, we often complete this sentence fragment. Kaya tawag dito, nagkakaroon ng away, misunderstanding because we were not able to listen then throughout the complete uh, the complete intended meaning. So, nangyayari, especially sa mga chismis. So, chismis is a fragmented, is a good example of a fragmented sentence, right? Minsan, may pinag-uusapan tayo, pero hindi natin sinasabi yung subject of the sentence. And pwedeng mag-assume yung iba na, ay, siya yung pinag-uusapan niyan. Ay, ito yun. So, nagkakaroon ng barrier. So, yun nga, kailangan nating, in that way, kailangan nating ma-realize on how important it is to be mindful on the fragment or the sentence fragment that we use in our daily life. So, if you want to be understood clearly, you need to express your thoughts, uh, convey your feelings correctly. So, yeah, para maiwasan yung misunderstanding, maiwasan yung misconception, yung mga yan, you need to be, uh, you need to practice having the five components of a complete sentence. Yes. So, ayun lang. I hope you have learned something and I'll see you sa lesson 2. Bye!